best YouTube channel in the whole world. Today we are going to use some flour for making this pizza without cheese, without an oven. So what you're going to do right now, first going to use about I think three spoons of flour. This is all-purpose flour, by the way. I think we may need about 5. Yeah, about that. So now instead of yeast, we are going to use this right here, baking powder. And I think baking powder is kind of less complicated. I think some of it is pouring, but we're going to use about maybe just a leveled yeah, about that. So we're going to add that too. And after adding that, we're going to add some little bit of salt. Make sure you don't add a lot, you rather put less than more. So the next step is just to add about that water. So we are going to mix this. We'll need this. An extra arm workout for the week, right? So after making our dough ball that looks like this, I've had people commenting that I should use gloves, but this show is realistic as possible and no one uses gloves to cook at their home. And this is a show where I don't floss, I show you what cooking exactly is. So this is our dough ball and we're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes. We're going to let the gluten form. So I have sunlight in my room. I've actually opened the door, so I'm going to scoot this to where the sunlight is. I think you can see where the sunlight is. So just there. So the sunlight actually helps this wheat to develop some gluten and hold itself together so that it can be stretched easily. So let's give that about 15 minutes and we'll come back to it. So the next thing is making our topping, and this is what you're going to use. This is some eggplant, some green bell pepper, then we have some carrots, some garlic, and some onions. So I actually believe in vegetables nowadays. I used to be a meat guy, but then I was like, vegetables can also do the same thing. So this is going to be a vegetable pizza, fully spiced. I'm going to make sure this turns out to be the best ever. So let's start with the chopping. Let's chop this up. So you all know that knife that I love a lot. It's called Mr. Cleaver, and this is him right here. I like this knife because it's so easy to handle and you don't have to worry about cutting yourself because it's too big anyway. So yeah, so let's chop this. So look at all this eggplant right here. Imagine how our pizza is going to be. It's going to be this huge thing. But the good thing is that this all melts down. So that is done. So now let's get to the green bell pepper. I like my big chunks of this because I want to bite into the vegetable. Then we chop the garlic. This one, you just have to do some rough chops to eat. Nothing fancy. I mean, this is a pizza that is like weird. So that is done. Onion. So right here we have our green pepper plus our garlic. Then we have our eggplant. Then we have our onions. You can see them right there. Then we have our carrots, our nice looking carrots. So we are going to begin cooking this. First things first, we're going to add some oil. Now here we are trying to fry our nice eggplant, and I think I like a bit of oil, so I think that will be enough. So we're going to add our eggplant. Then we use this wooden, I don't know what it's called, we call it an England stick, and we'll stir these. So the next thing we're going to add are our carrots. Because the reason as why these are the first things we add is because these take longer to cook than the rest of the ingredients. So after the carrots and eggplant seems softened, add some do you know I've forgotten what I had to say. So you're going to add this and then the onions, because you want these things to actually not cook through all the way, because you want that bite in the pizza. That's why people make a mistake on the vegetable kind of things. You want these vegetables to actually substitute the meat, you know. And then we mix. Yeah. You know, cooking gives me joy. Just seeing something come out of nothing gives me joy, you know. And we need to see how this turns out, whether it's going to be a disaster or like the best thing ever, right? So the next ingredient is going to like wow you guys. So we're going to add in honey. This is maybe beehives, right? So you'll see that this honey is actually crude, and it's pure honey, no water, no additives. It's crude honey. There is someone who gave me this. Thanks, by the way. So we are going to add in a bit of honey. I think about like 2 tablespoons, because what you want to do is to make this sweet. One make these vegetables sweet. Then we mix. So now to balance off like that whole thing, we are just adding some bit of salt, about maybe 2 teaspoons. So that is just like to balance out the sweetness. So the last thing we're adding is a bit of curry. Yeah, I think that will be enough. And our filling is done. So I want to show you guys the impact of putting this in the sun. Remember how it was sticky? It's no longer sticky. Literally. Okay, this part's stuck, but it's because I overpressed. But it doesn't stick. Even if you hammer it down, it doesn't stick. And I have added no oil to it. So now we are going to knead this a bit until we make our nice crust, you know. There's a technique that Chinese use, and they bang the dough on the surface, and this enables the gluten to like align itself. So this is actually good for noodles, but since we're just making a pizza, it's just to put some gluten into the dough. Then we press and roll. Okay, so right here is our dough. Forgive the sunlight. Actually, I can do something about the sunlight. So we have our dough right now stretched out, you know. So what you're going to do is add some things, but since we don't have a pizza, what they call it, there's that whole pizza compound you can put on. We don't have it, so what you're going to do is we're going to put this in our frying pan. So here is our pizza in the frying pan. Okay, so first things first, we're going to put some sauce. So what we have done before putting all the sauce, we need to first toast this, right? And this has to be done on like both sides. So we'll toast until it gets a layer down here, right? So that the dough is cooked all the way through. So let's first toast it. Guys, this is so amazing. Can you see that bubble right there? That bubble that is increasing. Actually, we are getting I want to make sure that we get bubbles all around, because we want this to rise a little bit, you know, just a little bit. So now after flipping and this part has become hard, now what you're going to do is to put sauce here and our additives right here. So first things first, we're going to add the sauce, and this is chili sauce, but you can add anything that you want personally. And then we'll smear this around. Then what you're going to do is reduce the fire, because this is a lot. Then we're going to add our ingredients. I think you can now see how the whole thing has come together. So we are going to add our ingredients. Our ingredients. So next thing is we are going to make sure that the bottom part doesn't actually become weird. So we're going to add a little bit of something. So add some little bit of oil to the base, and this helps with making sure that this doesn't become weirdly cooked. Then that is just a little bit. By the way, don't put a lot of oil so that you fry the dough, but just put a little bit just so that this just gets that extra aroma. So this last thing you can ignore or consider, but you can just put a little bit of margarine. But let me confess to you guys, the only reason as to why I made this without cheese is because cheese is freaking expensive here in Uganda. Cheese is so damn expensive. Sometimes you're wondering whether you're buying like a whole leg of a cow, you know? It's that expensive. So just put just this, but this is optional. This is very optional. But the next thing is weird. You have to cover this frying pan so that everything steams, right? Yeah, and gets to know each other. That's the last part, by the way. So guys, are you ready to be wowed? Are you ready to be blown out of your seats? Are you ready to be blown out of your minds? Are you ready to be blown by this? And that is without any single oven. I just want you to look at the crust. Look at that crust. Very perfect. Very perfect. So now the remaining thing is to just cut this, right? Just to cut. Okay. Since I'm alone here, I'm just going to take just a little bit of that. Just that. And this right here is a pizza without an oven, without cheese. Guys, I'm finally done with this video. So I just want to make a test and I see how this has turned out actually, because it doesn't matter if it looks good. If it doesn't taste good, then well. Now this is our pizza without an oven, without cheese. This just proves to show that anything can be made possible. If you have the will to do it, you can do it. So let's test and see. No lie, this is the best pizza I've ever eaten. It beats the chicken pizza I've eaten at Food Hub. It beats all the pizzas I've eaten from Cafe Javas. It's just really so good. It is so good. I'm not even lying, because you know when you have a cooking show you have to say it's good. But this is genuinely the best thing I've ever prepared since I made this YouTube channel. Thanks guys for watching. I love you all. Please subscribe, support a Ugandan to fulfill his weird dreams of making food in weird ways. I'm trying to come up with experiments, and I hope you guys will love them, and blah.